Hello, and welcome to the Yoga Teacher Collaborative live show. I am just gonna hang around a second, let it do its live thing, let us send us live in the group, and then we will dive into today's content. I'm just gonna pull it up on my screen as well, so I know it's all going to plan. Mercury retrograde and all. Okay, looks good my end. Welcome to the Yoga Teacher Collaborative podcast and the live show inside our very own Facebook group, the Yoga Teacher Collaborative. So if you are here with me live, I am always so pleased to be talking to you and not just talking to myself. So let me know in the comments that you're live. I'll try and nip in and out of the comments. Doesn't always let me see them in the moment. And if you are listening to the podcast, I hope you're having a lovely day, whether you're out on a springtime walk, whether you're driving to class, wherever you are so very welcome here. For the podcast, please do remember to subscribe. We send out an episode every single Friday. Even if it's not a brand new one, we've got a huge back catalogue, though we get a new one out to you every single Friday. So make sure you subscribe and don't miss them. And it would mean the world if you could share this. I give my heart and soul to give you really valuable information with which to grow and thrive as a yoga teacher. So if you would be a love and share this with another yoga teacher, I would adore that. Thank you. My name is Laura Green. I am the host and founder of the Yoga Teacher Collaborative. We are a network supporting yoga teachers to thrive through helping you in your business, to help you with your soul, to help you with your spiritual journey, with your philosophy, and all the ins and outs of what it is to do this wonderful thing we call teaching yoga. I have been teaching yoga myself for over 15 years, running retreats for a decade, and teaching online for a long time as well. So I've got all sorts of things that I can support you with. Today we are looking specifically at finding the right pricing model for you, your classes, your students, looking more specifically at classes and courses today rather than kind of retreats and trainings, but we've got a lot on retreats and training as well. Now, the last episode we did was also on pricing. And it was on more kind of how we think about pricing, why price is not always the be all and end all of why someone books something. So if you want more kind of that background on pricing, make sure you check out that episode as well. Today we are kind of honing in on a specific detail of the different pricing models, specifically relating to kind of classes and courses. Of course, there's always going to be a little bit of background theory and philosophy before we go into the real tangible nitty-gritty of it. So the first background thing I would love to go over with you is please don't price match. Please don't just do what everybody else is doing and copy a pricing strategy, because how you price your classes is a very specific calculation, and your situation, your venue, your costs, the capacity of a room is not the same for every different teacher. So we cannot just adopt the same price or the same pricing model as other classes and other teachers in our area. Pricing requires strategy. Now, I am not a strategy or data-based human naturally. I recently did some psychometric testing for a friend, the kind of things HR and companies get you to do in interviews. Someone had recently explored doing Hogan assessments, which is a type of psychometric testing, and I agreed to go through the assessment. And one of the scores on that is about how data-driven you are. And it's a percentage score from 0 to 100. And there must have been, 30, 40 different characteristics that came back on this Hogan assessment, and I got a 0 on the data one, from 0 to 100, and my assessor said they'd never seen a 0. He's like, oh, you do not make decisions on data. And I don't make decisions on data until it comes to pricing, because you have to do the maths. And invariably, when I am in coaching or mentorship sessions with you, when we are going through the pricing of your classes, when we're going through your strategy, when we're going through your studio setup, the first thing I end up doing is getting out my calculator and discussing with you how that price doesn't work. And time again, I'm saying, do the maths, or I'm the first person to do the maths with you. We can't just pick a price. Please, my lovelies, always do the maths. And inside the collaborative, many of you will ask, what should I price for X? Without giving us the data to do the maths on to actually advise you. So you can't say to somebody, what should I price a yoga class at? What should I price this one-to-one at? What rate should I quote for this corporate? What should I price my day retreat at? No one can give you a price unless you give them the data with which to do the maths. So that maths, that data is, what is the hall hire? How many people can you get in there? What other costs are involved? What is the demographic of the area? Is this for new students? Is this for experienced students? What is the value of the thing you're offering? And all of that data has to come together. You've got to type some numbers into a calculator, do the maths to then come up with your price. So any of the pricing models that I'm suggesting today, they're not just ready to go. You can't just go take and implement. You have to do the maths to make them relevant to your situation and make the strategy align with what you need. So after you do the maths, get the data, be strategic in your pricing decisions, then we're always looking for, and you've heard me say this many times before, fair. Fair for you, and fair for your students, and fair for any suppliers involved. I know I've discussed this before, but it is not about cheap pricing. It's not about affordable pricing. It is about fair pricing. And yoga teachers often put their needs at the bottom. We spend too much time thinking, is this fair? Is this affordable for our students? Which is, yes, something you want to think about, but not at the detriment of yourself. You need to be paid a fair wage for what you do, to not be worrying about money, for it to be profitable, for it to be sustainable. So fair for you and fair for your students. Do the maths. Pricing is strategic. Then, does your pricing model align with your values, your mission, and your vision? And we will look at that in a little bit more detail when we go through the different pros and cons of different pricing models. But, is a value for you that yoga is accessible? Is a value for you that yoga is something people have a dedicated practice for? Is your mission and vision that people make yoga a part of their lifestyle and not just something they dip in and out of? So pricing does come into aligning with your vision, mission, and values. And then another bit of background theory here. Your price communicates something about you and about the value of what you're offering. It is communicating something to your audience, and how you choose to price and what pricing model you choose will turn some people on and will turn some people off. And that is okay. We are not here to people please and be for everyone. It's okay to turn some people off and then be more attractive to other people. And yes, I do believe that yoga is for everyone and yoga should be accessible for everyone. But that doesn't mean I have to exhaust myself trying to be for everybody myself. Yoga should be for everybody. I should not be for everybody. And I can't be for everybody. I would exhaust myself if I tried to be for everybody. And this is why, as yoga teachers, the underarching statement of the collaborative is collaboration over competition. when we collaborate and we focus on the collective of yoga teachers, as a collective, we have the capability and the capacity to support yoga being for everyone and being accessible for everybody. So trust that within the collective, within the collaboration, within the growing army of yoga teachers, we can look after everyone. And therefore, it's okay for you to serve as an individual a narrower audience. Each one of us serves our own little segment of an orange, and then it comes together and we have the same whole orange. Okay, so let's look at pros and cons. And one of the things I would like you to think about is not your price and your pricing model as it relates to an individual class, but as your business as a whole. And if you would like consistent and reliable income. If you need an income from yoga to pay your bills and to put food on your table and to be able to have a holiday occasionally, to be able to look after your children, if you're needing the money from your yoga and you're not just stashing it into a savings account, then you probably want that to be consistent and reliable so that you know a consistent living wage is landing in your bank account monthly so you can meet those bills. If you need to meet bills and support your family with yoga income and it is inconsistent, you don't know if for the school holidays you're going to have income coming in so you can do with the kids, with the things that will make them a childhood they remember doing nice things with. You don't want to be stressing about that, going, well, I don't know what money's coming in June, July, and August. You want to be able to forecast and have consistent, reliable income. And that is a fair thing for you to want. That is a fair thing for you to want. A consistent, reliable living wage that supports you and your family. That is okay to want. And it is okay to meet that want by teaching yoga. Teaching yoga makes a difference in the world. Teaching yoga makes a difference to people's lives every single day. You put your heart and soul into teaching yoga. So therefore, it is fair for you to have a consistent living wage from it. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit more fiery about that than I expected to. It is the first day of Aries season, so forgive me. It's fair for you to want that. That's all I want you to take across. Having a consistent, reliable income is an absolute tonic on your nervous system. Money is one of the things that gives people the most stress. It gives people the most insecurity in their nervous system because it's deeply connected to that fight or flight. What happens if I don't have the money to pay my bills, to feed my house, to feed my family and keep a roof over my head? Okay? It's understanding that inconsistent income is stressful on the nervous system because it puts some of those things under a sense of threat. So let's make consistency one of your driving needs when it comes to fair pricing for you and fair for your students. Consistent, reliable income. So with that as a groundwork, let's go through the pros and cons of different models. So as I was saying, your price communicates with your potential students. So we have drop-in classes as one example. We have high ticket. What does high ticket mean? High ticket means expensive. And we have long-term commitment. So drop-in, pay-as-you-go cash classes, they are more likely to appeal to people that cannot be consistent in their yoga practice. Maybe they don't know if they can get to class every week. High ticket, so a high priced yoga class, yoga course is going to invariably lead to more consistent people because they have invested more money in it. Therefore, they are more likely to turn up for that investment. And long-term commitment, so signing up to something for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 6 months, 12 months, is more likely to make dedicated students, people that are really going to sit with their yoga practice. So as we know, the type of model you pick will communicate differently with different types of yoga students. So then we start to think within mission, vision, and value, what kind of yoga students do you wish to serve? Okay, so let's look at some of the different models. We have old school, drop in and pay cash. So what is the pro of drop in and pay cash? The pros of this one are pretty much all for your students. I can't think right now of any pro of drop-in cash for you that's ethical. Some people might say a pro of drop-in cash is that it doesn't appear on your books and therefore you might not pay tax on it. That is not ethical. If people are paying cash, you need to bank that into your business bank account so that you are still reporting it as a business income, therefore paying tax as part of that. So taking out that not ethical pro, I can't think of any pros of being drop-in cash for you. And we want a pricing model that is fair. So this might be fair for some of your students, but it isn't fair for you. Why might it be fair for some of your students? Drop in cash. Maybe they don't know right till the last minute whether they can actually make it to class. Maybe they have a job that they don't know if they're going to get caught on a phone call, caught on a client call. Maybe they commute and they don't know if the trains are going to be okay, if they're going to get back in time. Maybe they are raising a family and they have to wait for a family member to come home before they can know whether they can come out. Maybe they've got really young children and they don't know how the children are going to be and if they're going to be able to come out and come to yoga. So there are pros of drop-in cash for students that need that level of flexibility. Other pros of drop-in cash? I can't really think of any, if I'm honest, but the main con of drop-in cash is you do not know how many people are about to walk into your class until they drop in. And this is where pricing models have to relate to the size of the room. So if you have a small studio, and more people I mentor have small studios of 6 to 8, and that needs a very specific pricing model, because if it is a small room and you don't know how many people are going to pop up, drop in, say you roughly have about 8 people to come to class, and the venue can take 8, great. Some weeks all 8 will drop in and pay you cash and you've got a full class. But because you've chosen this model that facilitates inconsistency, there'll be many a week where all 8 do not turn up. So you've got 3, 4, 5 in a class. But you'll be limited on how much marketing you can go and do, because if you suddenly go, right, drop in cash, people come half of the time. So therefore, if I want a consistently full class and it takes 8, I need to have about 16 people that attend this class. But what happens if they all turn up? You can't fit them in. So that is the main massive downside of drop-in cash, that you don't know how many people are coming. That restricts your ability to further market the class, and you have attracted an audience base that are inconsistent. Yes, they might have valuable life reasons why they're inconsistent, but they're still inconsistent. So you will not get a consistent, reliable income. And remember, we started as it is fair for you to have a consistent, reliable living wage. So next model up is just dropping the cash component of that and changing it from drop-in to pay-as-you-go. Pay-as-you-go is still pretty much a drop-in, but it just means they have to go onto a booking system and book the class before they come. So maybe, they go online, they book a week ahead, and they do pay-as-you-go. I do have a pay-as-you-go facility. Mine's £11. You go online onto the booking system and book in. You could book in as late as an hour before the class if there's space. Okay? So it still hasn't really dealt with the inconsistent thing. But what it has done is someone has paid in advance. So therefore, you know how many people are coming to class tonight. So you could set up the room accordingly. You could have the right number of props. You'd be able to greet all your students by name because you have the register, you know who's coming. You will know if someone's booked in for a free first class, and you could be ready to greet that brand new student. You could have them fill in the registration forms ahead of time. So it enables you to give a much higher level of customer service when you have pay-as-you-go pre-booked. And pay-as-you-go pre-booked, people do still book it in advance. I'll have people that often come home from class that week and they'll go on the website and book in for the following week, or they'll book in for a couple of weeks. That is going to make them a little more consistent, because if you've booked for yoga in a couple of days' time at £11 and that day you're kind of in a bad mood, you don't really feel like it, you've had a bad day at work, but you've paid, you are more likely to turn up than had it be drop-in cash. Now, some people will still go, nah, I don't want that £11 and just not go. But that you will definitely get more people like, oh, I wasn't going to come tonight because I've had a really bad day at work, but I booked and paid, so I turned up. And you know what? I'm really pleased I came. So you will get a slightly better turnout rate, slightly higher class numbers than drop-in cash. Now, I do suggest, if you want that consistency, that you have a strict terms and conditions. And this isn't hidden in a T's and C's document, but at the time of booking, somebody has to tick and book to accept your cancellation terms. Again, what you put in your cancellation terms is going to affect how consistent and reliable your students are. So if you have terms that like, yep, you can cancel at 1 hour's notice and get your money back or carry it over or rebook, then that person's like, oh, I've had a really bad day at work. I could just go home and drink a glass of wine. You've made it easy for them. Okay? Whereas if they're like, I can't cancel, really want to go home and have that glass of wine, but you know what, I'm going to go to yoga. You've helped them. Yoga is always going to be better for them in the long term than that glass of wine. So I suggest that if you're using pay-as-you-go pre-booked, you have all bookings are non-refundable, non-transferable. I know other people do like 24 hours, 48 hours, but I've been teaching for 15 years. I've run this system for 5 years now. I have well over 100 students a week, and my tick box is all bookings are non-refundable, non-transferable. It doesn't cause any drama. And students that can't come will often say, oh, oops, sorry, Laura, I double booked, can't make it tonight. I know it's not refundable, but just wanted to let you know so my space is available. And they have no expectation. And then that means if, based on that circumstances, I want to say, I'm so sorry you've had to rush your cat to the vet. Thank you so much for letting me know. Do you know what? I've been able to refill your space. Let me give you a credit for next week. That delights your student because they've got more than they expected. The problem with strict terms and conditions of business is when they are not transparent, and that's when it does not feel fair. So very transparent terms, all bookings are non-refundable and non-transferable. But again, you can make your choice in that. If you want to have a 24-hour or 48-hour cancellation, go for it. But that will affect the consistency and the reliability of your income. And it is fair for you to desire consistent and reliable living wage. So next up, we have class passes. So this is when someone can say buy 5 or 10 class passes. A pro of this is it does cultivate a sense of loyalty. Someone has committed to you for 5 classes, for 10 classes. Okay. I don't like too much choice, so I don't have like I don't do passes anymore, but I used to. I don't have a 5 class pack, 10 class pack, because do you know what? Those 10 class packs just encourage you to reduce the price more, and that's going to affect that ability for you to get a fair living wage. We don't need to overly discount if we don't need to, but class passes with a little discount on that pay-as-you-go rate endear loyalty, but still not really consistency, because people can go and book as and when they like and use that credit. And again, I know some people that have 24-hour, 48-hour, you can change what you're booked in on that class pass and continue your credit over. So making it even more flexible for people. And yes, we want flexibility, of course, but it's not giving you consistency or reliability in your income. Then the trouble with class passes is every time it expires, either they finish their 5 or their 10, or if you put an expiry date on them, they're having to go through the life admin again of, oh, I've got to get a new pass. And then there's that thought, especially if you have an expiry date on it. Say someone bought a 5 class pass with a 7-week expiry date, and they've only used 5 of the classes in that expiry window. That then comes to a conversation of, oh, I missed 2 sessions, can I carry them on? Or you having to be really boundaried and go, I'm sorry, they've expired, which leaves a slight unpleasant taste in everybody's mouth. So class passes with expiry dates do help on the loyalty, but kind of in a negative way. And because someone's got to go buy it every time, the conversation around money, value, and worth is coming up in their mind every time. Even if they know your yoga classes are amazing and worth the money, but they were only able to make 3 out of 5, they're still going to be questioning the value based on their own behavior. Okay? So that's class passes. Next up, block booking, termly. This is a really old school way of doing it, where yoga classes were run in terms, 6-week terms, usually aligned with the school holidays. So you'd pay for 6 weeks, then you'd be told, okay, time for you to pay for the next term, time for you to pay for the next term. This was all very old school, before we had online booking systems, before we had the ability for people to pay by card on Stripe, and they were either bringing us cash, check, or doing a bank transfer. Technology has improved since then. We have booking software since then. So I think the block booking term times is a little kind of outdated now. We can move on from that. What are the cons of block booking? One of the major cons, especially that stresses people out, that we discuss so much in mentorship calls, is the admin and stress it makes you as the teacher, which is not fair, and it is not giving you consistency. Because at the end of every block, your nervous system has to go through the drama again of how many people are going to sign up for the next block. Maybe it's the January block, New Year, New You, it was sold out. But then as you come into the next 6-week block, there's Easter, and maybe someone's got a holiday, and there's some bank holidays coming up, and not as many people sign up. Then maybe we get to the summer block when more people are on holiday, they don't know where they're going to go, they don't want to sign up for the block. Then we get to September, you've got a sold out block again because September's like the 2nd January. And then come through to the last block of the year, oh, it's Christmas, it's cold, it's dark, I've got all these other things going on. So you get this real fluctuation or potential for fluctuation that is creating stress in your nervous system and is not giving you consistency. One of the reasons some people are still stuck doing blocks is if you yourself take the school holidays off. So if you have kids and you like that 6 weeks because it aligns with the school holidays and you not working to work in school holidays, it might feel like the only option. But there is another option, which is coming onto the monthly subscriptions. And this can still work even if you take the school holidays off. So we will come back to that when we talk about monthly subscriptions. some of the pros of block booking is if you have a theme or a focus for 6 weeks and it changes and it gives you some marketing impetus. So maybe, it's a journey through the 8 limbs of yoga and each block has a focus on a different limb. Or maybe it's a course through yoga and mental health, and each block might explore a different aspect of positive mental health. So there can be something fun to play with there, but obviously that's giving you more work to do for marketing. Next up, unlimited memberships. I see a lot of studios go through this option where they choose an unlimited membership, or memberships which gives you access to tiered memberships. So you can come to 1 class a week, you can come to 2 classes a week, you can come to 3 classes a week, you can come to unlimited. I think that's been inspired by the really big studios or the really big gyms, and it can work if you have a very big space. Because if something is unlimited or is giving you access to 3 classes a week, that doesn't mean someone's going to come to 3 classes a week, or it doesn't mean they're going to make best use of that unlimited access. But you still feel like you need to keep the space for them, but you don't actually know who's coming. So that can make it very hard if you've got a room that takes 6, 8, 10, even just 12 people. It can be really hard to make those memberships work because it's a small capacity. If you are a massive gym which takes 30 to 40 people in yoga and you're only paying the yoga teacher £30, those gyms and studios can make the unlimited memberships work. But if you are an independent yoga teacher that is paying hall hire and the capacity of the venue isn't massive and you don't have a huge community, unlimited memberships are likely to cause you more headache and less income. So then we're going to come on to my personal favorite, which is monthly subscriptions. Now, remember what we said at the beginning, that you have to find the right pricing model for you that aligns with the strategy that makes sense for your specific situation. So yes, monthly subscription is my favorite, and I coach and mentor many people through moving on to monthly subscription. It doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody. So what is monthly subscription? It is not a membership. A membership has that idea of like unlimited access, whereas a subscription is regularly buying the same product. So if you see now if you shop on Amazon, and if you're shopping anything that is a consumable, do you notice now that Amazon's trying to get you to default to subscription? So maybe you buy your toilet paper on Amazon. It's always going to be trying to shift you to press that button that says subscription, and you need to change it to no, I want a single purchase, one-time purchase. Or maybe you buy a shampoo or a beauty product or a favorite tea or a consumable on Amazon. You really might notice this, that it's defaulting to subscription and you have to change the default to one-time purchase. And when you hit the subscription, you are buying a subscription for that one product. You're buying a subscription for that toilet roll, and it comes on the second Tuesday of the month. You're buying a subscription for that brand of cacao, and it comes on the third Friday of every month. So a subscription is for a single product. So if you have a timetable that has 6 classes on it, that is 6 different products. So one of your classes is Monday 7 p.m. The subscription would be to Monday 7 p.m. yoga. If your student also wants to come to your Wednesday gentle, that's another product and would require another subscription. And I do have students with multiple subscriptions. They might be subscribed to a year-long course. They might be subscribed to a mentorship. They might be subscribed to my online yoga warriors, and they might be subscribed to one in-person class a week. So they're subscribed to 4 different products. It doesn't bother people. If they want those 4 different products, they will subscribe to those 4 different products. They're not going to go to Amazon and go, hey, where's my unlimited membership where I get everything? You know you want that product, you subscribe to that product. So it is per class. Why that is important is because that's how you know how many people are coming to that class. And the massive pro for your students is they never have to book again. Who likes life admin? I don't like having to remember every month to go and order my toilet roll again, or every week to go and book into that yoga class again. It's unnecessary life admin. And if I don't book in, well, it might be full. Versus on the subscription, they don't have to do any life admin for your yoga again. They do not have to go and book it every week because they're subscribed to that class Monday, 7 p.m. They have paid for Monday, 7 p.m. Even if they choose not to be there because it's parents' evening, they've still paid. So it doesn't matter that someone's not in their slot because you're still being paid for it. So if you know your class can take 12 people and you've got 10 people on subscription, it doesn't matter if only 6 people have turned up that week, you're still being paid for 10. So who's booked in and not booked in no longer is important. What is important is, of course, that you take the register in the class just for your own health and safety procedures, that you have the register. But when it comes to the booking, you've been paid. Okay? Then subscriptions mean your student doesn't have to actively pay again. And this is a big pro for them and a big pro for you. Again, it removes the life admin of, oh my God, I've got to go and find my wallet. I've got to go into the system. I've got to pay. I've got to do a bank transfer. Just that admin of paying for something. And then it removes the conversation around money. So say, you're on the ClassPass system and you have to say, oh, your pass has expired. That brings up the whole conversation of money again. And then someone's saying, oh, actually, do you know what? I'm going to be away for 2 sessions next month. So actually, I'm just not going to buy the next block. It takes all of that away. When was the last time you actively thought about paying your mobile phone bill? You just pay it and you just have a mobile phone. Works. The same with the yoga. Your student no longer has to think about paying you. So it takes away any awkward conversations around that. And of course, with my monthly subscription, people can cancel at any time, but via Stripe, they can't actually go in and cancel. They have to ask you. So they have to message you and say, hey, can you cancel my subscription? Or could you pause my subscription? I've paused 2 subscriptions today for people that are going away for all of April. And when I go in, I can pause it for a month. I can pause it until a specific date. So I can say, hey, pause this till the 21st of April. And then the next payment will come out in a month's time. Or I could unlimited pause, or I could pause for 6 months, or I could pause for 2 months. And again, it naturally resumes. So if you imagine someone's like, oh, do you know what? I'm going away for the month of April. Please, could you pause it for April? When they get back, they no longer got to think, oh, do you know what? I haven't done the yoga for a while. Life's a bit busy. I'm not sure if I need to be unpacking and washing. The subscription started again. So they're going to be there. Okay? So it takes out all of that kind of thought and umming and ahhing process. It gives you consistency of income. So I know how many people I have on subscription. I think I have about 75 students on subscription, and therefore I know that their subscription payment will land in my account monthly. Therefore, I know monthly how much I am going to earn. And the freedom of that, I know via subscription, this much is going to come in this month and every month, and that will pay for my mortgage, or that will pay for X bill. The soothing nature of that on your nervous system is amazing. And yes, there's fluctuation, of course. I just said that I put 2 people on pause for a month, but I also had 2 new students in March that both straight away moved on to subscription. So then you get that up and down kind of evens itself out if you always have a drip feed of new students that are beginning to move onto subscription. So I hear you. What happens if you're on holiday for a week? What happens if, as Monday just gone, I hire village halls, the porter didn't turn up, who was freaking livid. The porter did not turn up. So there's me and all my students outside in the car park with a locked hall. Okay? They've all paid, they're on subscription. So then when I come home, I'm able to go into Stripe, which manages the subscription, and give pro rata refunds. So my subscription is £39 for a month. I don't change the subscription amount if it's a 4-weeker or a 5-weeker. I average it out. So the average number of weeks is 4.2 weeks per month, averaged out over the year. So I take that £39 per month, divide by 4.2, and that means an average class is worth £9.23. I go into Stripe and I can hit refund and enter the amount of money I wish to refund. So it refunded them £9.23 because their class didn't happen, they shouldn't have to pay for it. If I was sick and I couldn't get cover, I would do the same thing. If I was going away on holiday for a week and I didn't have cover, I could do the same thing. Just go in and refund everybody one. It's really easy to do, just a little bit of admin. So I really urge you for subscription because it removes life admin from your students, inspires them to be more consistent and loyal in their practice. It gives you more consistency in your income, and you know what's happening. You know who's booked in. You don't know always who's going to turn up, but you know who's booked in. Okay, whether they choose to turn up, it doesn't actually matter because they've already paid to be there. Okay, how does the monthly subscription model work if you do term time? This is a little something to get your head around, but it's not crazy. So if you know you teach all of the school holidays, you take off all of the school holidays. I can't remember how many school holidays there are in a year, which is why you'll have to do this maths. But say roughly you get 6 weeks for summer, 2 weeks at Easter, 2 weeks at Christmas, and then 4 half terms, maybe. I'm not a mum. I know you'll know your school holidays better. But say that's 14 weeks of school holidays in the year. There's 52 weeks you'll teach minus 14. So maybe you're teaching 38 weeks a year. Okay, so 38 weeks over the year. Then you work out what that is on average if it run consistently for 12 months. So I'm going to take that 38 classes a year and divide it by 12. So that means on average, you're teaching 3.16 classes a month. Yes, you'll teach solidly for 6 weeks and then have a week off, but on average, you're teaching 3.16 classes a month. So then say your class price is £10. So that means it is £31.66 a month. So let's just round that up to £32 a month. So everyone would pay £32 a month for 12 months. So what it means is you can spread the cost of their yoga over 12 months. And yes, in January to the beginning of February, they'll get 6 weeks of yoga, and then there won't be any yoga for a week because of that half term. But the way they've paid means they've spread it out over the year. There is a tricky thing with that of what if somebody signs up for your subscription at the beginning of January, they've only actually paid £31 for January, they come to all of the sessions and you were going to do 6 weeks between January and February, and then they cancel their subscription. So they only actually paid you £31, but maybe they got maybe they got like 4 sessions of yoga and that, and they'd paid for the equivalent of 3. So that can happen, but the long-term consistency and reliability will win overall over those inconsistent students. And you could put a minimum term in it. Just like, when you sign up for a gym and it's a minimum term of 3 months or a minimum term of 6 months, you could do that. So you could say, it's £31 per month, minimum term, minimum commitment. Let's use the word commitment, it makes it easier. Minimum commitment is 3 months. Okay. So I have coached other mums through this and they have applied this. And when I've spoken it through with other mums, they're like, oh God, that's what the ballet school does. That's what they're being charged for their kids to go to things. Oh yeah, do you know what? I pay for so-and-so to go to the ballet school, a monthly amount for the whole year. But yeah, it's closed for the 6 weeks of August, but it averaged out. Yes, it is a little bit more complex, but if you're a mum running term times and you don't like it, you don't like the inconsistency of not knowing who's going to turn up to pay for the next block, you don't like the admin of having to remind everyone again and again, you've got to pay for the next block, I want you to know that there is another model. It's slightly complex, but once you explain it to your students and they understand it and they understand why it's fair for them and fair for you, you can get this model to work. But it is a little bit more complex. It's just the kind of thing that we could work through together in a one-to-one coaching call. But I want you to know that option is there. Okay, darlings, we are very nearly finished. There's only 2 pricing models that I personally would never use. And, I say where we began, pricing is personal, okay? And pricing needs to be strategic. So just because I don't ever do this doesn't mean there's not a scenario where this might be applicable for you. But I don't do by donation or sliding scales because they don't lead to consistent, reliable income for me. And they don't actually feel that fair for students. Students like transparency when it comes to pricing and terms and conditions and value. So if you say to someone, oh, this class is by donation, then there's this worry of, well, I don't want to pay too little and be stingy. I don't want to overpay and pay more than I have to. Could you please just tell me what I pay? They would rather just be told. And I don't love that inconsistency. And the same for sliding scales when they say things such as, if you're struggling right now, pay £5. If you're buoyant and financially affluent right now, pay £10. If you want to contribute towards a subsidised place for somebody else, pay £20. It's quite an American thing. It makes me feel a bit ick. I would rather support somebody who can't afford yoga on a one-to-one basis by giving them a month free. And I do that all the time. If someone's in a financial difficulty, can't come to class anymore, we talk about it, then I'll say, look, I don't want money to get in the way of you coming to yoga. Have all of April for free. I'd rather deal with that on a case by case. Obviously, that means someone has to feel confident enough to speak to me. So there is a con there, there's a trick there, but it feels better to me than sliding scales. So I don't do sliding scales. And the other one I don't like, I'll probably get shot down in flames for this, is angel numbers. If you don't know what angel numbers are repeating numbers such as 111, 222, 333, 444 that in spiritual communities are believed to have a spiritual significance. So if you repeatedly see the number 111 or triple ones or 4 ones, it is in the spiritual community believed to be that this is the angels sending you a message that you're on the right path. Same with repeating 2s, repeating 3s. They are guidance from the angels and from the universe. Therefore, I see a lot of people in more spiritual communities, wellness communities, using angel numbers to price things. I see courses that are £222. VIP is £333. This yoga workshop is £33 and 33 pence. This yoga class is £11 and 11 pence. It makes me feel really ick because if you believe in angel numbers, that seeing this number is guidance from the universe, that you're on the right path, for you then as the company to manufacture that situation by deciding, I'm going to price this on an angel number, because then when someone sees that angel number as the price, it's going to help give them confidence that it's the right thing for them. To me, that feels very manipulative. If you believe in angel numbers, it's more intuitive, more accidental, less someone, I'm going to price it as this, and then you'll see it as an angel number, and then you'll think you're on the right path. It makes me feel really ick. If you don't believe in angel numbers and you're using it to manipulate people, that's really ick. So I will not use... I hope you've never seen this, but I imagine it'll be one of those things. Now we've talked about angel number pricing, you're going to see it. I've seen it on retreats, $3,333. I won't book or buy the thing if you priced it with an angel number, because I don't like being manipulated. Again, I could probably get some slack for that, flack for that, but you know, I speak my truth to you, beautiful souls, and I come back to what I said at the beginning. Your pricing communicates to your people, so that angel number pricing turns me off. But you don't need to people please. It might turn some people on, and that's just not me. So that's okay. Maybe I'm not meant to be in that circle. And pricing needs to be strategy. And I think that's the other reason I don't like angel numbers, because it tells me there was no strategy behind that. If you are pricing a day retreat and you're going to take into consideration the cost of the venue, the cost of the caterer, the cost of anything else you buy, how many people you can fit in the room, what a fair hourly rate is for you to earn on top of that, what the marketing is going to cost, how much it's going to cost you to do the marketing, how long it's going to do the marketing. You put all of that data into a calculator and you work out the right price for your retreat. I'm pretty damn certain it's not going to come out as £111. So an angel number pricing shows me you didn't work out your pricing strategy, and therefore I'm either being undercharged or overcharged because you didn't look at the maths. Whew. Aries fire is in me today, isn't it, my loves? All right, I suggest we leave it there before I say anything else that is going to get me into trouble. But here's the but, isn't it? Fair for you, fair for your students. It is okay for you to desire a consistent living wage. It is better, it's okay for you to desire more than a living wage. It is okay for you to desire a consistent, reliable, comfortable wage that enables you to live the life you love and invest in things that make you excited, turned on, happy, that you can give money back to charity, that you can give money back to your organizations, you can give free classes away to certain students because you have an overflowing abundance of income coming in. It's okay for you to want a consistent, abundant income, but why don't we just start with getting a consistent living wage, and then we'll move on to abundance, my lovelies. Okay. Whew. Any questions, comments? Get them in there. I know this is a difficult topic, so here to deep dive in the comments over in the Yoga Teacher Collaborative. If you're on the Spotify, listening to the podcast, you can drop me an email. You can reach out to me on socials, Laura Green Yoga, and I will catch you soon. Bye for now, my loves.